Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Did you have fun at the beach with
Yes,
your
we
grandbaby?
did. We did. We had a great time. She did great too.
Aw.
I didn't know how she'd do it. Oh, I think it's probably the sound,
Yeah.
the sounds of the waves. And yeah, she was happy, happy.
Aw. Oh,
Yes.
I'm glad you shared it.
Yes. She's such a good baby. So did you have a nice weekend?
Yeah. Yeah,
Good,
we did. We did.
good.
So
Good, good. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and
back
get.
to the grind.
Yes, yes. Happy Monday.
Hmm.
All right. We'll go ahead and get started. All right. Here we go. Ready? Excellent. Awaiting. District. Pass. Telegram. Heavy. October. Study. Learn. Advice. Opening. Include. Similar, allowed, loss, average, offered, entitled, promise, transportation, death, worse, besides, looks, arrangements, easy, move, wouldn't. All right. Let's do some consonant compounds. These are initial PR and PL. Here we go. The prince presumed the problems had all been presented. Priorities are our primary protests. Proceed to the private premises. While printing or praying, we must promote the player. The press room was buzzing with presidential primary results. Practice your pronunciation with the proper diction. Predestination is the presumption that our lives are predetermined. Owning property is the downfall of the proletarian. The preconception that all progress is present day is pragmatic. Prankish tricks often precede the practical person. Prohibit your procession if pregnancy prohibits it. Procure the promotion if the printer is presentable. He has a propensity to project the pro rata data. The priceless prescription is presumed to be lost. The provocative protege let her presence permeate the precious press room. Show the proprietor the proper protocol. Prose is writing with preferable precision. Practice what you preach, and don't always preach what you practice. She used plastic plates and platters. The platform was not plated. A plateau was planned. Blood platelets are a plus. We looked at a plate full of plastic. A platinum blonde is pleasing. Platitudes are not pleasant. Ours was a platonic affair. Their platoon played with a platypus. The plaudits were not plausible. They pleaded to play in the plaza. He based his plea on the pleat. Your pledge will plenish us. Plebes don't wear plaid pleats. It was not only plenty, it was a plethora. Pleurisy affects the pleura. The plebiscite by the plenary council was planned. A plotter's plight is plumpness. You may act as my playing planner. The plumber plunged the plunger. She placated him with a pleasant placebo. Placards were plastered in each plot. You can place the plain plan here. Don't get out of place on the plane. We had plenty take the placement test. The placer was placid, placing the plants. Plagues are not plotted or planned. The plaintiff wore a plain plaid skirt. Our plantation pleased the planners. Why does a plagiarist plagiarize the plans? Pluto is a planet. Use a plane to smooth the plank. Planishing hammers level metal plates. A plantar wart requires plastic surgery. The plastic plant used a plumber. Don't put planter's punch in a planter. Place the plaque in the plaster. The plasma pleased the plower. Some call a plot a plat. The platters were plotters. All right. Those are good ones. All right, let's do some phrases and short sentences. Here we go. Add it up. Along the way. Plants and flowers. Between the lines. Don't open the door. Something good. Plant the trees. Those other people. In my head. We left it there. Close the door. Always be kind. It never happened. Once upon a time. We walked 4 miles. Let me carry it. Stop the music. The young face. State your case. I cut myself. On my side. The peaceful Indians. The young girl. The tall mountains. A good idea. A long life. White clouds. I hear the sea. I hear the waves. Almost 4 miles. All right, names and addresses. Here we go. Carol J. Rosen, Rosen, 68 Flower Drive, New York, New York, 11367. Lanny M. Welch, Welch, 2029 Sandberg Avenue, Newton Junction, Georgia, 30909. Janine T. Laro, Laro, 69 Boss Avenue, Manchester, New Hampshire, 03103. P.V. Griffin, Griffin, Director of Counseling, P.O. Box H26, Junction City. Oh, are you there? Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Lower Speeds live class. I apologize for that. We lost power there for about an hour, so it's back on, and we'll go ahead and resume where we left off. All right, so we left off with some names and addresses. Here we go. Ready? William F. Dagon, Dagon, Media Department, Mineral Point High School, Mineral Point, Wisconsin, 53565. Terry D. Rourke, Rourke, 1011 Pleasant Street, Winthrop, Rhode Island, 02871. Sherry L. Hosek, Hosek, 3013 Concord Avenue, Mesquite, Texas, 75150. Deidre A. Fox, Fox, 1015 Belvedere Road, Mayor, New York, 12601. Ms. Penny B. Barker, Barker, 410 Look Avenue, Marion, Virginia, 24354. Pat L. Stanley, Stanley, P.O. Box 173, Maiden, North Carolina, 28650. All right, I've got some legal terms for you. Here we go. Ready? Presumption of innocence, statements of witnesses, full, fair, and impartial jury, credibility of the witnesses, recover upon the contention, recall this charge, degree of proof, interest, bias, or prejudice, ordinarily prudent person, absolutely no presumption, in the event that no affirmative defense, more likely so than not so, performance of your duty, benefit of the doubt, innocent until proven guilty, exclude from consideration, reaching your verdict. All right. Now, we're going to do some Tangle Tamers. Here we go. Ready? Health coverage, degrees Fahrenheit, merciless massacre, exhausted refugees, cryoprotective chemicals, cryonic suspension, transition of power, crooned comfortably, strategic installations, commuter special, mathematician succumbs, requirement challenged, accounting controller, nuclear circuit breakers, medfly reproduction, allegedly committed, malathion spraying, studio environment. All right, let's do some medical words. Here we go. Juncture point, descending ramus, expanding portion, rounded protuberance, straightening limbs, center line, patellar tendon, impacted fracture, inflammatory disease, remaining constant, commonly applied, ionization chamber, healing process, measuring instrument, prescribed exercises, operative reduction, under anesthesia, diminishing qualities. All right. I've got an a drill. That's what it's called, a drill. Here we go. An extra, black and blue, a case, ham and eggs, a pig, an error, red and white, a box, an otter, a cart, an ending, height and weight, a test, an infant, peaches and cream, an issue, a pal, an alibi, cats and dogs, a desk, an alley, Jack and Jill, a tab, an altar, old and gray, a turn, an eagle, twist and turn, a pot, an onset, run and jump, a plan, an emblem, thick and thin, an outing, fits and starts, a scar, Dick and Jane, a man, an ulcer, old and worn, a fin, an idiot, a drum, an orphan, sixes and sevens, a sign, loyal and true, an oyster, tall and dark, an ideal, a gal, a sin, boy and girl, an Esther, a book, an equity, a cup and saucer, a job, pen and paper, an agent, an Afghan, a sail, hand and foot, a fake, an escape, knife and fork, a bag, an extra, coat and hat. And here are the sentences. An inch turns into a mile. I've a dog and a cat. Use a knife and a fork. Eat an apple and an orange. Sit and read a book. Wear a coat and a tie. Take a coat and a hat. A bus and an auto crashed. It's a day and a half. Use a day and a half. An annual picnic is a lark. Use a paper and pencil. Go and get a paper. Tom and I ate an apple. Use an apple and an apricot. Wear an overcoat and boots. It's a tan and blue. Use an hour and a half. All right. We're going to move into our literary and jury charge. Here we go. This is a continuation from this case held in Wisconsin. And these are opening statements. I'm going to start at 60, but I will work my way to 100. Here we go. Ready? You cannot look into a person's mind to find intent. Intent to kill must be found, if found at all, from the defendant's acts, words, and statements, if any, and from all the facts and circumstances in this case bearing upon intent. Intent should not be focused with motive. While proof of intent is necessary to a conviction, proof of motive is not. Motive refers to a person's reason for doing something, while motive may be shown as a circumstance to aid in establishing the guilt of a defendant. The state is not required to prove motive on the part of the defendant in order to convict. Evidence of motive does not, by itself, establish guilt. You should give it the weight you believe it deserves under all of the circumstances. You're satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt at the conclusion of the trial that the defendant directly committed both elements of first-degree intentional homicide, or that the defendant intentionally aided and abetted the commission of that crime. You should find the defendant guilty. If you are not so satisfied, you must find the defendant not guilty. Count 2 charges the defendant with mutilating a corpse, also as a party to the crime. Section 939.05 of the Criminal Code of Wisconsin provides that whoever is concerned in the commission of a crime is a party to that crime and may be convicted of that crime, although that person did not directly commit it. The state contends that the defendant was concerned in the commission of the crime of mutilating a corpse by either directly committing it or by intentionally aiding and abetting the person who directly committed it. If a person intentionally aids and abets the commission of a crime, then that person is guilty of the crime, as well as the person who directly committed it. Person intentionally aids and abets the commission of a crime when acting with knowledge or belief that another person is committing or intends to commit a crime. He either knowingly assists the person who commits the crime or is ready and willing to assist, and the person who commits the crime knows of the willingness to assist. To intentionally aid and abet the crime of mutilating a corpse, the defendant must know that another person is committing or intends to commit the crime of mutilating a corpse and have the purpose to assist the commission of that crime. Before you may find the defendant guilty of mutilating a corpse as a party to the crime, the state must prove by evidence which satisfies you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant directly committed the crime of mutilating a corpse or intentionally aided and abetted the commission of that crime. All 12 jurors do not have to agree whether the defendant directly committed the crime of first degree, mutilating a corpse, or aided and abetted the commission of the crime. However, each juror must be convinced beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant was concerned in the commission of the crime in one of those ways: mutilating a corpse as defined in section 940.11 of the Criminal Code of Wisconsin is violated by one who mutilates a corpse with intent to conceal a crime or avoid apprehension, prosecution, or conviction for a crime. Before you may find the defendant guilty of this offense, the state must prove by evidence which satisfies you beyond a reasonable doubt that the following two elements were present. Number one, Brian Dorsey mutilated the corpse of Tracy Hall or aided and abetted another in mutilating the corpse of Tracy Hall. Number two, in mutilating the corpse of Tracy Hall or in aiding and abetting another in mutilating her corpse, Brian acted with the intent to conceal the crime. This requires that the defendant acted with the purpose to conceal a crime. You cannot look into a person's mind to find out about the intent. Intent must be found, if found at all, from the defendant's actions, words, and statements, if any, from all the facts and circumstances in the case bearing upon intent. If you are satisfied beyond a reasonable doubt at the conclusion of the trial that Brian Dorsey directly committed both elements of this offense, or that Brian Dorsey directly aided and abetted another in the commission of the crime, you should find the defendant guilty. If you are not so satisfied, you must find the defendant not guilty. All right, and there is more, but we're going to stop there. Start some literary. This is on vitamins and minerals. And you're going to hear the following vocabulary words: documentation, mega vitamin, magnesium, disclaimers, congressional, preventative, supplementation, lethargy, osteoporosis, absorption, and toxicity. All right, I'm going to start this at 60 and I'll work my way to 100. Here we go. More than 10 years after being battered on the issue, the Food and Drug Administration is again cautiously looking at the question of whether super vitamins should be regulated as drugs. An FDA official said that the agency is encouraging doctors to record their patients' vitamins and use, and to report overdoses and side effects on the forms they use to report dangerous reactions to drugs. They are looking for clear documentation of toxicity associated with vitamin and mineral use to help with the regulatory process. A trade group representing vitamin manufacturers later said that group would be strongly supportive of efforts to gather more information about the effect of diet supplements, saying that the figures would bolster their reputation and position if they are objectively analyzed. However, fears by some have been expressed that the FDA was out to prove a predetermined conclusion, since their call for more information was accompanied by disclaimers that not enough was known about long-term effects to take action. In the early 2000s, the FDA issued regulations banning the non-prescription sale of super potent vitamin A and D products because of a potential health risk. The FDA also proposed that vitamins and minerals containing more than 150% of the recommended daily allowance for the substance involved be regulated as drugs. All right, so let's stop there. There is more, but we'll finish the rest of this in tomorrow's class. Go ahead and get started with our Q&A. All right. I'm going to start at 60, but I will work my way to 100. Okay. And it looks like defense is questioning. Here we go. While you were there, did you become aware of any other portion of her body that was hurting other than her head? No. Did you overhear anyone asking her how she felt, where she hurt, anything like that? No. Did you ever see her move from the couch to anywhere else inside the condo? No. So for the whole time that you were there, she was laying down on the couch. Is that correct? Yes. She was lying on her back. Yes. Was her head elevated? Yes. Were her feet up on the couch as well? I don't remember. When you say laying down, was she completely lying out, or was she sitting in a reclining position? I guess in a reclining position. More seated than lying? More lying than seated. Did you hear her complain about any pain to her back? Not that I can remember. Did you ever see her lying down on the floor in the condo? No. Did you see the paramedics administer any treatment to her? No, but they did take her on a stretcher. Can you describe the stretcher? Describe the stretcher? It was not the ones with the wheels, but I guess the boards. Did you see her get onto the board? She had assistance from the paramedics. When they moved her, did she utter any sounds at all? Sounds of pain? Did it appear she was in pain? Yes. Could you tell where the pain was emanating from? No, because she was strapped on. Do you know if any repairs were ever done to your vehicle? My vehicle? None. How long were you inside the house? 5 or 6 minutes. Did you say anything to anyone while you were inside the house? No. Did the police dismiss you, so to speak? Yes, they did. How did that occur? They walked with me to my car and said I could go. Did they say anything else other than you're free to go? No. Did you receive any citation as a result of the accident? None. Was your insurance ultimately reinstated so far as you know? After the accident, yes. With the same company? Yes. Now, in the police report, on page 4 of the police report, the police have attributed a statement to you. If you look down through that, I'd like you to read it quietly to yourself. Okay? Now you've read from lines 11 to 25 on the report. Yes, I did. And the police indicate that, well, it says what it says, but they said to you, or you told them, you were going about 40 to 45 miles per hour when you first observed the other vehicle. Is that a correct statement? Yes. Is that what you told them? Yes, I told them that. Then it said you were going down to about 20 miles an hour because you were going to stop? Yes. Is that what you told the police? Yes. You told me today that you slowed down to slower than 10 miles per hour on, I beg your pardon? On impact, it was 10, probably 10. The police also indicate, quote, your brakes would not respond, end quote. Do you recall telling the police that? Yes, I do. And is that, in fact, what occurred at the time that you arrived at the intersection? Yes. Then it goes on to say that you were traveling about 20 miles per hour when you struck the vehicle. Is that what you told the police? Yes. Is that a true statement? I think so. Well, today you told me that you were traveling somewhat less than 10 miles per hour. Yes. At the time that you hit the brakes. Yes. Or at the time that you hit the other vehicle. Uh-huh. Now, in the police report, you've told them that they say that you said that you were going about 20 miles per hour at the time of impact. What is more correct? What you told the police or what you told me today? I'd say what I told you today. Is there any particular reason why you can, or in any way that you can justify the difference in what you told the police and what you told me today? Well, the police were talking to me. I was, I guess, in a nervous condition and really didn't know what to tell them. Did he give you anything to read after talking to you? No. After the police came Did you have any further conversations with or any further contact with who you identified as the husband of the driver of the other vehicle? No. Since the day of the accident, have you had any conversations with the driver of the other vehicle? None at all. Have you had any conversations with the husband of the driver of the other vehicle? None at all. Did you do anything to clean up the paint transfers on your vehicle? No, just left it how it was, yes. Do you know if anybody took any photographs of your vehicle? Yes. Who did? State Farm Insurance. Did you know, and how do you know it was State Farm? It was, they told me to go to the building said itself, State Farm Insurance. State Farm, yes. Do you know how State Farm enters into this picture? Their insurance. Could it have been Farmers Insurance as opposed to State Farm? Oh, Farmers Insurance. Sorry. I know it was their insurance though. I'm going to show you some photographs that would appear to be a red vehicle. Okay. Do you recognize that vehicle? Yes, I do. Would that be yours? Yes, it was. Is that the one that you were driving? Yes, it was. Can you identify any damage that you've described in either of the photographs? The scratches on the top of the bumper. All right, so we're going to stop there and do some read back. Okay, this first time will be read at 100 and then again at 80, last time at 60. There we go. This is defense as well. Now, calling your attention to the date of October 18. You were driving a car that was involved in an automobile accident. Isn't that correct? Yes, sir. At approximately what time of day or night did the accident happen? I think it was about 7 p.m. or thereabouts. All right, was it dark? I think it was, sir. Were your headlights on? I think they were. I don't recall. Were the headlights on the other car that struck you? That I wouldn't know, sir. All right. Now, was the weather clear and dry? Yes. The streets were dry, weren't they? Yes, they were. Now, at the time of this accident, where were you going? I was going down Valley. That's toward Beach Boulevard. But I don't know whether it is south, east, or west. I meant, what was going to be your destination? Where were you going? I was going home. I lived on Fifth Avenue. You were going home? Yes, I was. And where were you coming from? Where was I coming from? Yes. Did you come from a movie, a store, or what? I was coming from a friend's house. And what friend was this? What was his name? Jim Carter. Carter. Was he in the car with you at the time of the accident? Yes, sir, he was. And for what reason had you been to his house? I was just visiting over at his house. And why was he coming back with you? I was going to drive him to work. On the night of the accident? Yes, sir. All right, so let's do that again at 80 words per minute. Here we go. Now, calling your attention to the date of October 18. You were driving a car that was involved in an automobile accident. Isn't that correct? Yes, sir. At approximately what time of day or night did the accident happen? I think it was about 7 p.m. or thereabouts. All right, was it dark? I think it was, sir. Were your headlights on? I think they were. I don't recall. Were the headlights on the other car that struck you? That I wouldn't know, sir. All right. Now, was the weather clear and dry? Yes. The streets were dry, weren't they? Yes, they were. Now, at the time of this accident, where were you going? I was going down Valley. That's towards Beach Boulevard. But I don't know whether it is south, east, or west. I meant, what was going to be your destination? Where were you going? I was going home. I lived on Fifth Avenue. You were going home? Yes, I was. And where were you coming from? Where was I coming from? Yes. Did you come from a movie, a store, or what? I was coming from a friend's house. And what friend was this? What was his name? Jim Carter. Carter. Was he in the car with you at the time of the accident? Yes, sir, he was. And for what reason had you been to his house? I was just visiting over at his house. And why was he coming back with you? I was going to drive him to work. On the night of the accident? Yes, sir. All right, so let's do this one more time at 60 words per minute. Here we go. Now, calling your attention to the date of October 18, you were driving a car that was involved in an automobile accident. Isn't that correct? Yes, sir. At approximately what time of day or night did the accident happen? I think it was about 7 p.m. or thereabouts. All right. Was it dark? I think it was, sir. Were your headlights on? I think they were. I don't recall. Were the headlights on the other car that struck you? That I wouldn't know, sir. All right. Now, was the weather clear and dry? Yes. The streets were dry, weren't they? Yes, they were. Now, at the time of this accident, where were you going? I was going down valley. That's toward Beach Boulevard. But I don't know whether it is south, east, or west. I meant, what was going to be your destination? Where were you going? I was going home. I lived on Fifth Avenue. You were going home? Yes, I was. And where were you coming from? Where was I coming from? Yes. Did you come from a movie, a store, or what? I was coming from a friend's house. And what friend was this? What was his name? Jim Carter. Carter. Was he in the car with you at the time of the accident? Yes, sir, he was. And for what reason had you been to his house? I was just visiting over at his house. And why was he coming back with you? I was going to drive him to work. On the night of the accident? Yes, sir. Well, that concludes our class and read back. So because we don't have any students in the live class, I will have you go back and read whatever selection you want, whether it be the 60, 80, or 100, and compare it with what you have in your notes, see how you did. Okay, so that concludes our Lower Speeds live class. Have a wonderful rest of your day.